Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking what is honestly one of the most stressful, messy nightmares a homeowner can face. That smelly, slow, or completely backed up drain, and we're going to transform that panic into a calm, logical decision. Look, when plumbing issues strike, it's so incredibly easy to just freak out, right? But stick with me, because we're going to uncover the exact diagnostic framework that the professionals use to solve this exact problem. So let's dive right into this ultimate homeowner dilemma. It's a really tough question, and frankly, almost everyone will face it at some point. And with it comes this paralyzing fear of exorbitant costs, completely destroyed landscaping, and days without a single drop of running water. But here's the thing. The best answer isn't one size fits all. It is entirely based on what is actually happening inside your specific pipes and just how far that damage has spread. It turns out deciding between a quick patch job and a total system overhaul, well, it doesn't have to be a guessing game. On one hand, you've got the quick patch job, just repairing a small affected section of the line. On the other hand, you have a total system overhaul, which means replacing the entire line. By the end of this explainer, we'll uncover the exact criteria the pros use, which is going to allow you to have a really informed, confident conversation with your plumbing contractor. Okay, so here's our decision menu for today. We're going to cover 1. The dilemma. 2. Inspecting the hidden damage. 3. Assessing the recurrence risk. 4. Calculating the true cost. 5. Access, disruption, and timing. And finally, 6. Making your final decision. This lays out the exact diagnostic framework used to eliminate all of the guesswork. Section 1. The dilemma. Setting the baseline. Before we start looking at all the underground variables, we really need to understand the core philosophy of professional drain management. The golden rule of the industry is actually pretty simple. Fix what's truly salvageable and replace what's likely to fail sooner. This simple philosophy beautifully balances immediate system performance, total overall cost, and just the sheer inconvenience of having plumbers working in your house. And honestly, it completely debunks that old myth that every professional is just out to push the most expensive full replacement. Section 2. Inspecting the hidden damage, looking underground. Our first technical pillar is all about how professionals actually see what's happening. And spoiler alert, they don't guess. Step 1. They use diagnostic video equipment to snake a camera right down your drain and visually map out the interior. Step 2. They assess the exact extent of the damage. And step 3, they determine if the issue is localized to just one spot or if it's widespread. This step-by-step video inspection is absolutely crucial. And this video evidence brings us to our first major fork in the road. If the inspection shows a localized issue, like say a single broken section, a focused pipe collapse, or maybe just a specific spot where tree roots have broken through, well then a repair is very often your most efficient path forward. However, if that camera reveals widespread deterioration, like extensive corrosion all along the pipe or multiple different points of failure, at that point, a full replacement rapidly becomes the safer, smarter, long-term choice. Section 3. Assessing the recurrence risk. Will it happen again? All right, so once we know what the current damage looks like, we have to look toward the future. The really critical point here is figuring out the durability of the remaining pipe and predicting the likelihood of that exact same messy problem returning. Repairs are great when the damage is isolated and the rest of the pipe is structurally sound, but you really want to avoid a situation known as progressive failure. This is basically a pattern of recurring backups, where you're constantly calling the plumber out for repeated spot fixes, and it's a huge indicator that the system is just reaching the end of its natural life. You literally have to ask yourself, is the surrounding pipe actually structurally sound? Because if there are signs of progressive failure, a quick repair is essentially just a temporary bandage. Patching today can absolutely mean redoing the exact same job tomorrow. And let's be real, nobody wants to throw good money after bad. Section 4. Calculating the true cost, beyond the initial invoice. Now it's time to shift our focus away from the initial sticker shock. When you first get that estimate, a localized repair is going to look incredibly appealing, thanks to a much lower upfront price tag. But we have to weigh that low initial cost against the future financial risks. We really have to look at the total life cycle of the pipe, not just today's bill. Think about the hidden costs of partial fixes. If a repair only addresses part of a failing line, you can so easily get trapped in a vicious cycle. We're talking repeat callouts for the plumber, getting hit with additional emergency labor rates when the pipe inevitably fails at midnight, and the need for faster follow-up work, causing all sorts of future household disruptions. Conversely, while a full replacement is undeniably more expensive upfront, it reduces all of these future disruptions and gives you a clear, predictable service life. Often, paying a bit more now saves you a massive headache and honestly, way more money later on. Section 5. Access, disruption, and timing, the physical chaos. We absolutely cannot ignore the practical, physical realities of pulling pipes out of the ground. The routing of your plumbing line and how they actually access it from the outside plays a massive role in this decision. You have to ask, will this require excavating through finished landscaping or expensive interior finishes? If a full replacement means tearing up your beautifully manicured garden or ripping up your pristine hardwood floors, well, professionals might heavily prioritize a repair, assuming it's technically appropriate. On the flip side, if access is super manageable and digging won't completely ruin your property, a full replacement becomes a much more straightforward and attractive option. We also have to contrast the timeline here. Look, when your drains are backed up, you want water flowing again immediately, right? Repairs can sometimes be completed significantly faster, offering you that urgent drainage relief. However, if the underlying condition of the pipe suggests imminent failure anyway, delaying a necessary full replacement increases your chances of experiencing far more severe backups and massive property damage down the road. Section 6. Making your final decision. The verdict. Okay, let's pull everything we've learned together into this really helpful final decision matrix. The professional's logic is pretty clear here. If the damage extent is localized or isolated, the pipe integrity is structurally sound, your financial view is on a short-term tight budget, and the disruption would cause extreme landscape damage, you strongly favor repair. But if you're looking at widespread or multiple failures, there's progressive deterioration, you're viewing this as a long-term investment, and the access is totally manageable, you favor replacement. Having this framework in your back pocket empowers you to weigh the evidence logically instead of just feeling like you're at the absolute mercy of whatever a contractor suggests. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. What is actually hiding inside your drains right now? Seriously, if you are dealing with recurring drainage problems, do not guess, and please, do not stress. The absolute most helpful action you can take is to get a professional video diagnostic inspection to document the reality underground. Only with that hard visual evidence can you truly decide if a repair will hold up or if it's finally time to invest in the durability of a full replacement. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and hey, may your drains always flow smoothly.